Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. Welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome if you're new here. Today is 9/9, September 9th. So we have an angel number reading for you today. So I'm just going to be getting some quick messages for you, just some shorter readings, just to give you some insight. Any messages that maybe resonate with you. Of course, this is just a general reading, so always just take what resonates and forget the rest. And yeah, just want to give you a little check in for your day, your week, your month, your year, however you want to take it. Okay, I have 4 groups for you. You can go ahead and pick by the card you can see, the number, the sound of my voice, group 1, 2, 3, or 4. When you're ready, all the timestamps are below, and I will see you at the reading that you chose. Hi, everyone. Welcome. It's for everyone who picked group number 1. So you all pick the card. I trust that my powerful intentions combined with my faith are enough to allow my vision to become my reality. So this has a nice little eye on it. Okay, and so this is a reminder that if we're not getting the results we want or the thing to happen that we want to happen, or, I've been putting so much time and effort and blah, blah, blah into all these things, but I'm not getting what I thought I was going to be getting, right? Sometimes we can try to expand what we think we can control into what we cannot control. And then that just makes us even more feel stressed out and feel crazy because we're like, oh, I thought I was doing this, but I'm not getting the results I want. So I need to control something else. But actually, this card is a great reminder that having faith, like doing your part and then having faith for God to take care of the rest for you, like that's where we need to be with ourselves, right? It can be so tempting to just be like, well, it's not happening yet, so let me control this other thing or this other thing or this other thing. But the truth is, like, we're only responsible for the actions. We're not responsible for any outcomes at all. And so when we try to focus on the outcomes and we're like, well, where is it? I thought it would be here by now. I thought, whatever. That's again where we can that's when we cause ourselves distress because we're focused on, well, I can control that. I'm an outcome. I can manipulate this. Or because I did this, this, and this, I believe that the results need to come, right? We can't control any of that. God says when, God says how, God says the timing, the unfolding, right? And so this card is a reminder that I trust that my powerful intentions combined with my faith are enough to allow my vision to become my reality. So this is just pull back, focus on only what you can control. You can think, here's my list of things that I can actually control, things I can influence, right? We can influence things. And then there's things that we can't even, no matter how much we do, we cannot control at all. And so if you want to take a step back and just make your list and be like, okay, this is what I can control. This is what I can't control. This is what's going on for me. This is not what's going on for me, right? And just really tapping into that instead of feeling like, oh, I need to control all these things so that I get like the exact outcome I want in this way. Because again, we can do everything like perfectly on paper and still not get the results we want, the timing we want, any and all of that. And so true faith is when we can have faith in our vision and, like this says, our intentions, and kind of really tuned in with what we're feeling and trust that we can follow our heart, knowing that God is in charge. But that's not like something mean or malicious, right? It's just using discernment. Spiritual maturity is being able to use discernment around what I actually can control and what I can't control. So good message for you, group 1. Okay, I'm going to look at some tarot cards for you, and then I will close with a few oracle cards for you. Boundaries, 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 baby. Everyone's favorite thing to work on. Okay, so we have the World, King of Swords, and the Wheel of Fortune. So I feel like, again, like you really need to, the world's about a chapter closing, things closing. I'm just seeing like things being closed off into their like things you can silo. So again, this idea of like, what can I actually control? What can I influence and what can I not control at all? I feel like separating these things out is really going to be helpful for you. It's going to help you kind of pull your energy and your time and your focus onto things that are actually, you can actually do instead of like burning ourselves out trying to push and push and push on something we can't actually control at all. And the King of Swords, of course, King of Boundaries, awareness. When we do those things, when we focus on that and we uphold the boundaries around like, okay, this is where I can do something, this is where I can't do something, this is where something works for me, something doesn't work for me. And that's when we have this beautiful Wheel of Fortune, like the Hands of Fate. I always read the Wheel of Fortune that way, of just like, that's when God can come in and like put together all these things for us in a way that typically is way better than we could come up with on our own, right? And for ourselves. And so we have to think about, if I'm doing all these things, if I'm doing my part, going back to this opening card of like our intentions in my faith. That's what we need to do, you know, just make a list. Think about how many times something has just like magically come together or unfolded perfectly or all these things when we were so worried about it, when the truth is like we just need to be more cognizant and use more discernment and have more patience around what we can and cannot control. And that kind of allows things to unfold again in a way that is, I mean, it's always for the highest good, but also gives us ease and calm and peace instead of trying to feel like we need to control every single thing, every single second of every day, because again, how much is that actually gonna do things for us? Not as much as we like to make it to believe. Yeah. Okay, so we have Page of Cups, Page of Wands, and Knight of Cups. So let yourself be surprised, let yourself try something new, let yourself go down a different way, right? So this is really just like, let yourself be surprised by what God brings you, by how things unfold, by, you know, how much time you free up from when you stop trying to control something. You suddenly have all this energy of just like, oh, look at all these things I can do in my life. Look where I can put this, look where I can put that, right? And then Page of Wands is, you know, reigniting your passion, reigniting some awareness. So I feel like when you open your mind up and you practice more flexibility, and you're able to be like, okay, maybe it doesn't just have to be this one way. Maybe it could be a few of these other things or whatever is going on, right? Then you can be reignited with this passion of just like, okay, cool. This is where I want to go. This is what I want to do. This is what makes sense to me. And then going further, this Knight of Cups is just like, okay, one step at a time, one thing at a time. That's all I have to control. That's all I have control over. And that's all I have to control. You know, just this idea of, just take care of what I need to take care of today for my life and myself. And then God's going to take care of the future. So how can I just focus on what do I need to do today? What's a baby step for me? What's a thing for me today? Instead of trying to manipulate and control every single thing, because as we know, surprise, it doesn't usually work for us. But when you can let yourself kind of step back and let things come to you instead of trying to manipulate or push or pull or be like, I want this one and this one and this one, right? So much more can unfold for ourselves than when we're just like, oh, I need to be doing this, this, and this thing, and I'm going to control this and I'm going to control that. But when we are able to let ourselves like open up to new possibilities, to something different, to, you know, even just a different way of thinking, when we just do things a little differently, different thoughts, any of all of that, so much can open up for us that like maybe couldn't have before. So really honoring that and holding space for that. Okay, I'm going to look at just 2 oracle cards for you and 1 affirmation. Get wild. Woo. Okay, so this one is a reminder, you know, I feel like sometimes as we get older and we're in the world more and all of that, right? Sometimes we can be like, okay, I have to be on this path and it has to be really structured and this is my plan and this is my that, right? But we know how nature works, how universal forces work, is like the more we try to restrict them, the more that like we just mess ourselves up. So get wild is just a reminder of like, you know, we see nature doesn't follow this exact linear path, right? There's a bigger picture, but there are things that go within it that we can't control, that are unpredictable, and things still make a way, things still get done, things still happen. So kind of maybe loosening up some of your rigidity on like, it has to be this exact way, this exact thing, this exact linear plan, when so much of nature and universal forces and stuff don't work like that. So get wild. Get wild, baby. You know, we're so funny as humans. We try to be so structured and so, you know, all these things, when that's not how so much of life works and comes together. Heart opening to the divine. Yes. Okay. So again, this is, I feel like, the whole theme of your reading of just like let go and let God, and let your path unfold the way it needs to unfold. And part of that heart opening is, again, using our discernment to let go of control, to have things move forward in a way that works for us, to, you know, again, have the heart open to the divine in a way that is, in humility, is in, you know, like, I know this is for my highest good, like all of that, right? Instead of just like, has to be my way and all of this. Heart opening is a practice in humility, even when we forget that it is. Okay, I'm going to look at 1 affirmation card for you. Close your reading, group 1. Sun flew out. I commit to being more present in my life. That's nice. Okay, so look at this rock. One time I did this activity where I held a rock in my hand for 6 hours, like literally 6 hours of the day, right? So whatever I was doing, I had to be holding a rock. And the whole point was to help you realize how many things you're holding on to and how energetically those are weighing you down, right? I just saw this rock and thought of that. And so when we're really focused on this rock, right, something we can't control, something we need to let go of, something that isn't really helping us anymore, that's when we're putting our energy onto something that is like not super helpful for us. So I commit to being more present in my life, drop the rock, let it go, stay focused. Sometimes we're like, oh, where's this thing? And where is this? Why can't I have it happen? But we're focused on all these things that are like missing or aren't here yet, that we don't feel peace and contentment because we're missing our relationship with ourselves, right? When we build a relationship with ourselves, when we feel content and connected to ourselves, that's when we feel peace, right? And to God and to our higher power and all these things, right? So just ask yourself, what's one way I can be more present? Is it just doing some deep breathing, doing an activity more slowly? When you're doing one thing, trying to focus just on that instead of everything around you, right? But I commit to being more present in my life. Okay, that's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. If you ever want any more information about me, all of that is linked below. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is for everyone who picked group number 2. So you all pick the card. When I'm grateful for what I have, I can feel good along the way to what I desire. That's beautiful. Even this like sun rays coming in. Okay, so sometimes if we're the ego can play a little trick on us where we think like, oh, if I'm grateful, then I'm not going to want more. I'm not going to want to grow. If I practice, gratitude and thankfulness for what I have, then I'll be content with where I'm at right now. And actually the opposite is true, because when we are grateful for what we have, then what we have becomes enough. And we know, we don't get so, we can shift our focus from being on all these external things of like, well, I need this thing and this thing and this thing and this thing, to something more that's like, well, look at all these things I do have, right? The focus is not so much on what's missing, but it's like, wow, look at all these amazing things I do have. Look at all this gifts and blessings and abundance and sustenance I have. So I'm so grateful that when I continue to grow, which is a natural part of the human soul, as I continue to grow, like that is just going to propel me and help me move forward to do that. So sometimes, again, we think, well, if I'm grateful, then I'll just be content and I'll stop growing. But that's not true, because most of us are taught to motivate ourselves through lack, through not having enough, through punishing ourselves, through, whatever's going on. But again, just a reminder that that's not true. And if you have been doing that, how's that been working for you? Right? Okay, so sometimes we think, if I'm just mean enough and harsh enough and push myself and all this stuff, then I'll get there and it will make sense and everything will be okay and blah, 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 right? But actually, when we practice gratitude, it just takes us it just calms our nervous system. We're down regulating, we're feeling peaceful, we're feeling content, we're feeling taken care of. We can really be present with all the blessings we have in our lives, instead of like, okay, I need to get there and that's when I'll be happy and that's when I'll have this and that's when I have whatever, right? But gratitude turns what we have into enough. And so this is a card, a reminder that when you're grateful for what you have, I can feel good along the way to what I desire. You can still be growing and changing when you have gratitude, right? And there's so many people, you just know people like this. When you meet them, you can tell that they're grateful. They're like beaming from their face, they're glowing, it's because they've practiced this gratitude and have so much thankfulness for everything. If you're watching this, you have access to the internet, like that's something to be grateful for. You're breathing, you have a home, you have somewhere to sleep, you have food to eat, you have all this, and it's not to like minimize whatever, things are stressing you out right now, but it's just a reminder we can be so forgetful and so unappreciative of these things we have that we take for granted. And it's corny, but it's true. And when we can practice that energy, it makes the rest of life much easier to deal with. And we can, again, be growing and changing and on our way to what we want with a grateful heart, instead of like a desperate, scared, fearful heart. And it's totally different energy. It's totally different feeling. It's totally different way of existing than before with those two things. So when I'm grateful for what I have, I can feel good along the way to what I desire. Okay, I'm going to pull some tarot cards for you, and then I will look at a few oracle cards. Okay, so there's blessings here. It's just for you to recognize them. Okay, so 9 of Wands, 10 of Cups, and 4 of Cups. And the other thing I want to say about this too is, we're not trying to minimize any pain or uncomfortable situations or hardship you're going through. It's just practicing gratitude. You can do both. Gratitude is not toxic positivity. Gratitude is like, even though I'm going through this thing right now, I choose to be grateful for all the blessings I have. Or even though this thing feels impossible and like I'm never going to get out, I'm thankful I have this, and this thing, right? So just, it's not minimizing or pretending like you don't have pain or hardship or whatever is going on, but it's about shifting back to can I hold space for both? And we can. So we have 9 of Wands, 10 of Cups, and 4 of Cups. So yeah, I feel like your heart feels a little open to this group too. It's like, maybe I could peek around and see what's going on and see what's all of this, right? And then this is just interesting that it's both cups, 2 cards from the cup suit. So 10 of Cups and 4 of Cups. And so this is like emotional fulfillment and all the blessings you do have, all these things, that are going on. If you're watching this, you can pause it or write it down, this video, but just make a list of 10 things you're grateful for, right? This is a very helpful way to just kind of get us out of our own mind, get out of our own way, and just feel a little more connected and grounded. Because look, there's more blessings to be granted to you. There's more things that are trying to come to you, but we're just so focused on all that we don't have that, when we're focused on, oh my God, look at all these amazing things I have, I'm so grateful, totally shifts our attitude and our energy and even our brain to be able to focus on those things. So don't kick away your blessings just because they're there and you can't recognize them. You can't get out of your own way to recognize them. And again, I feel like the heart wants to do that. It's just, if we can be humble enough to be able to open ourselves up to be able to do that. Which is easier said than done, I know, but hey, emotional mastery takes time. Okay, so we have Page of Swords, 7 of Pentacles, and Strength. I'm feeling, I get it. It feels impossible to do this. Sometimes some mind shift things, mind shift things take time to shift and change, and it can feel impossible. But I feel like the desire, this Page of Swords, to like, let me check it out, let me see what's going on, maybe this could happen, maybe this could, whatever. This energy is here, which is very much like, all right, maybe this could happen for me, maybe this is a thing, that whatever, right? So just testing the waters just a little bit. And again, taking stock and taking inventory of like, how many times have I changed my mind about something? How many times have I opened myself up to something different? How many times have I whatever, right? And knowing that you do have the inner strength to do that. If something feels hard and like, I can't do this, that means you're in the right direction, right? The lessons get harder as we get better, as we continue to grow and change, as we continue to open ourselves up to new things, right? If everything was easy in life, the ego wants that, but the soul doesn't. The soul wants to grow and change and be challenged. And, there is this level of growth that we can access when we push ourselves to change our minds and to kind of like let go of something. And again, you don't have to do this. You can just, turn it off and do whatever you want. But this, I feel like you have the inner strength to do it. Definitely. It's just, that quote, like, you're stronger than you're stronger than you think you are, right? This is just awareness around, it's how we want to grow and change is difficult. I don't know where this rumor started that growth and spiritual development and facing ourselves and be accountable for ourselves was like simple and easy and feels good all the time and it's everyone else's fault, right? Having to face things within ourselves is challenging, can be painful, all of that. So whatever you're trying to grow and change into, especially with like this gratitude mindset or not beating ourselves up anymore or giving ourselves compassion, right? It takes strength to do that, but there is that accessible to you in order to be able to do that. Okay, let's look at some oracle cards. Love. How sweet. Okay, so I mean, that's in your hands, right? It's in your hands what you want to focus on, what you want to do, how you want to hold your heart, how you want to take care of yourself, how you want to, all of that is right there. So love is definitely available to you. We just can forget with things. So corny, cheesy love, but hey, it's always helpful. We just forget a lot of the times. But just, yeah, remembering again, what I was talking about of how's that been working out for you, being mean and harsh to yourself, right? Can you practice gratitude? Can you practice love? Can you practice self-compassion for yourself, and just see how that kind of leads things to unfold in your life? Oh my God, vibration of love. Okay, this is like, I mean, time to crack that heart chakra open, group 2. Okay, love, 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 love. This is the very clear message for you, vibration of love. I don't even feel like I need to say anything else to that, because you get 2 cards with the exact same word on it. It's pretty, message received, pretty clear message. Okay, so I'm going to close with one affirmation card for you. Oh my God, I am love. This is now 3 cards with love on it. Okay, so just really, really be the presence of love, tune into the vibration of love, let like the beautiful, magical energy, spirit of love flow through you. I mean, I don't really have anything else to say. Love, it's pretty clear. Okay, that's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. If you ever want any more information about me, all that is linked below. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hi, everyone. Welcome. For everyone who picked group number 3. So you all picked the card, I am patient, knowing that whatever is of the highest good is coming to me. So this is really beautiful. There's a pregnancy image on here. So if you're trying to get pregnant, maybe that's a message for you. If you're not trying to get pregnant, right, this can just symbolize any type of rebirth, or, kind of being reborn, or any type of like emotional process that we go through with that. So I am patient, knowing that whatever is of the highest good is coming to me. Everyone's favorite advice, be patient, right? Okay, but this is, again, is a reminder that when we trust God, when we trust God's plan, that includes trusting God's timing, that includes trusting God's unfolding, that includes trusting the way things need to go, so that every single piece that needs to come together can actually come together, right? We can get so impatient when we're like, okay, I want it, I did my work, I whatever, right? But there's so many things, I'm sure you can think back on your own life, so many things that's like, oh, well, thank God that didn't come a day before it did. And like, we're happy it's here and we don't want to wait anymore. Like, definitely, okay. But it really is easy for us to look back and be like, okay, I see why it had to happen that way. And then we're just so funny as humans, because we forget that every time we want something else. And then we forget, oh, God is helping me. God is figuring these things out. Like, these forces, universal forces, are coming along and are working for my highest good. But again, we just love to forget that. Okay. But yeah, so practicing patience, right? Patience is part of faith. Patience is part of trust. Patience is discernment. And patience doesn't mean that, you're like, I hate this, whatever. It's like, how can you find joy in your life? How can you practice gratitude? How can you practice, enjoying your day-to-day life, right? A reflective question, if you want to journal or just think about it, is like, if I never got this thing that I wanted, what would I do with my life, right? Because we know things are going to change, life is going to move on, things are going to happen. But if this thing I'm so fixated on never happened, or never came to me, or never whatever, what would I do with my life, right? If I knew that never happened, what would I do? And just see what comes up for you. What do you have control over? Where's your sphere of control? What are things that fill you up, that make you feel content, that make you feel like you are living a life that you're proud of and you can connect to, and all of that? Because that's when it's easier for us to practice patience, right? Sometimes we put all our focus and energy on like, well, when I have this thing, then I'll feel at peace, and then I'll whatever, right? And we have needs, okay? We're not like pretending that's not part of the human experience, but this is a reminder that, if we can think about, sometimes things don't go our way. And so if something never happened, what would you do? Because again, we can't control the outcome. We can only control ourselves. And that's not to scare you into like, oh, it's never going to happen, right? But this is just a reminder that we need to live our lives from that place of, how can I build contentment and peace within the here and now? How can I really ground into feeling in control and clear and connected to myself? And again, building peace and building contentment and building gratitude in my day-to-day life. So patience, sometimes people can think it's like a passive concept, but it's not. It's very active. It's doing a lot of things. It's being aware. It's choosing what things we do, right? So patience is a gift to ourselves. And what we learn while we're waiting, it's usually, typically, always. I rarely like to say always, but what we learn while we're waiting is always required for us to be ready for what we're waiting for. Okay, I'm going to pull some tarot cards for you, and then I'll do a few oracle cards at the end. Group 3. Yeah, I mean, you gotta, okay. Temperance to me is about patience. It's about balance. Let me say, okay, we have Temperance, 6 of Cups, and 3 of Wands. So this is just what I was talking about. Temperance is about practicing patience, creating balance in your life. Okay, with this, and when we can do that, it's like really tapping into our inner child, right? So what did I like to do when I was a kid? How do I have fun? How do I play? How do I, find joy in my day-to-day things? Can I like watch a bird or a squirrel or whatever and like laugh a little bit today? Can I like not be so focused on everything being so serious and heavy and blah blah blah, right? So this temperance of like, how can I show up for myself and take care of myself and pour into myself, self-soothe, and also how can I have some fun while I'm doing that? How can I let my inner adults take care of some of these adult things and then let my inner child play and do that? And what I'm hearing is like, once you shift your energy and focus on that, you're going to see you have so many more options. You have so much more things going on than just this hyper focus of like, where's this thing I want? It's not here. I'm pissed. I'm never going to get it. I'm, whatever. Right. So it really is about when we get pissed at our external circumstances. And obviously, of course, there's times where we do need to make changes. We need to set boundaries. We need to leave places, relationships, activities, behaviors, right? We do need to do that. But this is, once you've done that and like, connecting to this inner energy within ourselves, it's about, how do I soothe myself? How do I have balance? How do I take care of myself? And then how do I connect to my inner child and laugh and play and, do a lot of these like fun, playful things. And I just noticed this on both of these cards. So you see there's like these white flowers on the 6 of Cups. It's also on this card too. So maybe white flowers, if you see those around, just smile. Take it as a little sign, a little wink from the universe, from God going on for you. But anyway, so once you do all that, you can really open your heart up to the choices you do have. You can see so much more than just these blinders of like, I need this thing in this way and this, whatever, right? So really owning that and holding space for that is going to be important. Okay, and then I'm going to look at more tarot cards for you. Yeah, don't forget your blessings, Okay, so we have the 9 of Cups, Page of Wands, and the Fool. I love the Fool. Haven't seen that one in a while. Okay, this is just remembering, like, wow, look at all these times God really came through for me. Look at all these ways, all these things happened in my life that, really helped me and got me going. And then that can reignite your your heart and your faith and your all these things, like the faith really is a muscle. Our faith gets tested so it can get deeper, so we can handle the more messed up things that life brings us, because guess what, life is always messed up for the rest of our lives. We never it's not to scare anyone, but some people think, well, when I get here, then I'll never have to deal with that ever again. But it's about building our healthy toolkit and our healthy tools to be able to deal with these things of life, instead of just being like, oh, well, once I have this, then I'll never have to deal with anything ever again. That's not true. It's about, how can I practice while I'm being patient for things, because there's always one more thing to get. There's always the next thing, the next whatever, right? And so the Fool is like, when you turn inward and you build that within yourself, then you'll have the energy to be like, oh, I can do that. I can do something different. I can be different. I can whatever, right? Instead of feeling like you couldn't for all this time. So this is really about being grateful for what we have, and then that can kind of shift our perspective to be like, oh my God, I have so much and I just didn't realize it. And so once I really believe that in my heart, it's easier for me to move forward and do these things and do all of that, and take that leap of faith, jump off the cliff, metaphorical cliff. Okay, but doing this. Okay, I'm going to look at some oracle cards for you. What what do you want me to say? Okay. This happened in group 2, the end of group 2 too, okay? I mean, what? The message is loud and clear. Loud and crystal clear. Group 3. Patience, 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 patience. And okay, look at this imagery, right? Look what grows when we're patient. And when we stop trying to, when we get our hand out of it and just let these things unfold, look what grows versus when we try to, manipulate it and do this and do that, whatever. I was just reminded of the saying or the metaphor or whatever of like when you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every day to make sure it's growing, right? You have faith it's gonna sprout up through the dirt eventually. And so same thing with the patience in your life. Patience. Rejection is protection. Okay, so yeah, so this is a good reminder when we're being patient, sometimes things don't come to fruition or unfold the way we want, or we thought it was going to be this one exact thing, right? But just a reminder that once we get the thing that's actually for us, we're like, oh, okay, that made sense why these things didn't work out. So it can be really frustrating in the moment, but just, again, building that faith muscle. Rejection is protection. You can't miss what's for you, and what isn't for you will always go by you. And so just remembering you don't have to cling, because what's actually for you will stay in your life willingly without you having to try and push so hard. Okay, let's get one affirmation card for you to close your reading, group 3. I choose peace. Okay. So again, this is the idea of like when we practice patience, this a way we can self-soothe is being like, rejection is protection. I trust things that are for me are coming to me. I can't miss what's for me, right? You need to identify what feels uncomfortable and then say the affirmation or the language that soothes you and makes you feel comfortable. You have to let grace in, let soothing in, let patience in, let playfulness in, right? All these things I talked about, but I choose peace. What does that look like for me? What do I do? How do I allow peace to actually be part of my life? Okay, that's everything I have for you. If you ever want any more information about me, all that is linked below. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hi, everyone. Welcome to everyone who picked group number 4. So you all picked the card. I heal the habit of fear and I embrace the habit of love. So I just love the imagery on this card, right? This is like two sides of the same coin, two things looking into each other. Which one are we choosing, right? And so the habit of fear is like saying things to ourselves. It's just basically like changing our thoughts, right? So this is the habit of fear is like, things are never working out for me. I'll never get what I want. Something's wrong with me. I'm not enough, blah, 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 right? So as the saying goes, a belief is just a thought we've practiced over and over again. Sometimes this doesn't apply, of course, but just take it take it how it resonates for the areas of your life where it does apply. Right. And then the habit of love is like, I am enough. Things that are for me can't miss me. What I'm doing the best I can, and that's good enough. The pace I can go at is okay. Right. And so when I think about changing habits, sometimes it's like, well, I'm good at this and I'm bad at this, or I'm this and I'm that. But a more helpful way to think about it can be framing it of like, this is more practiced for me and this one is less practiced. So it's not that one's easier or harder. It's just one is a habit you've already built. So I like that habit is on this card, right? And one is a habit that you need to kind of rebuild and put energy into, right? So how many times have I told myself I'm not good enough versus how many times have I told myself I'm enough, right? Or I approve of myself, I accept myself, versus all the times for how long and how many years we've been saying these other things about ourselves. And so just a reminder that when we switch our habits, even with our thoughts and what we think, right, it's going to take time. We're not going to be perfect. So giving ourselves grace and compassion and understanding is always very important. Okay. But just remembering that when we heal these habits, it takes time to switch them. And so we deserve to give ourselves patience and care and understanding when we do that. And so healing the habit of fear and embracing the habit of love is a reminder that it is possible to shift these things, but you do just need to, like, again, think about it as less practice and more practice. Thinking about it as this is just a new skill I need to build, not like something's wrong with me because I can't do it like instantly the second I want to be different. So granting yourself some patience and care with that can really help you. And just remembering that, a lot of people, the common phrase is, oh, I hate overthinking. I just want to turn my brain off. But like, it's usually not the overthinking that's causing us pain. It's what we're thinking about, right? So if you say, I hate you to yourself 20 million times a day, of course, that's not going to feel good. But if instead you practice this habit of like, I love myself, I accept myself, I approve of myself, I'm doing the best I can, it's okay, the pace I need to go at, what I need to do, that opens up so much. Just even saying that, just feel what it feels like to just like treat yourself with love and care and compassion. So, again, shifting that is going to take some time. So being patient with yourself, not judging yourself for these learned behaviors that all of us have, and we pick up messaging and we act in these certain ways, when it's like, I just need to change the way I think about myself, not just, again, not minimizing there's something else going on, but there are certain situations where it's like, okay, I can't change this thing about myself or my situation or whatever, but I can give myself compassion and grace and understanding through all of it. Okay, let's look at some tarot cards for you, group 4. All right, 10 of Pentacles, the Lovers and Wheel of Fortune. So I think the Lovers, this is like the same imagery here as on this card, right? Like, so this mirror thing, this mirror internally of what's going on. So 10 of Pentacles, the Lovers and Wheel of Fortune. Pentacles are about abundance. They're about feeling like you have enough, feeling like you are enough. And so I think really doing that inner work to turn inward and say, where am I out of balance with myself? When I read the Lovers in a solo person reading, this just reminds us to balance masculine and feminine energies inside of us. It has nothing to do with your gender identity, your gender expression, masculine and feminine energies. And everyone has both. You don't just do one. Okay. This is a lie that's running rampant on the internet, but your masculine energy is like the action, the doing, putting yourself out there, doing these things. And then your feminine energy is about letting go, receiving, stop trying to control things, like being thoughtful with things. And all of us have both of those, and we need to find balance within those for ourselves. And so I feel like when we have this habit of fear, it's because we're doing too much of one or the other, right? So maybe you always only take action instead of like stepping back and letting things go. Or maybe you always are like, I'm going to get this, or I'm going to do that, or but you don't take any action, or you don't put yourself out there, or you don't stand up for yourself, right? So finding that balance. And so like, it's there for you, this feeling of contentment and being able to work through life and do these things is definitely there for you, but it's just about finding that balance within yourself. And then when you do that, when you put the focus on yourself and you heal these habits of fear and love, and you kind of shift your energy, that's when the Wheel of Fortune, which I always read as Hands of Fate, can come in and kind of work through these things with you and do things for you that you can't do for yourself, right? There are universal forces that are at play and that are doing things for us. And part of that does include, being able to show up for ourselves in a way that maybe we couldn't before. And yeah, just like miracles happening, things coming to be, like all that. Okay, let's get a few more tarot cards. Yeah, more balance. Okay, so group 4, I'm really getting a lot of like looking at this mirror of ourselves and choosing, where do I want to go? How do I need to add more balance? And whatever this means in my life, balance, I guess, like even spread of my energy, right? So we have the 5 of Pentacles, the 9 of Pentacles, and Justice. Just look at the difference between these two, right? This is leaving myself out in the cold. This is forgetting about myself, not doing things, not, whatever, all of that. And this is someone who is very well nourished. It does turn inward, does give themselves love and care and approval, turns into themselves. So which of these things are you doing for yourself? And obviously, most of us don't typically do all of one completely, none of the other, right? But looking at where can you tweak it? Where can you have more nuance? Where can you find that balance in order to have this justice, right? So the sword is about having boundaries and being like, okay, I used to do this, or now I want to do this other thing. I used to ignore myself or not take care of myself in this way, but instead I'm going to do it this way instead, right? And so finding that balance, we have the scales there for us. And then again, when we have inner harmony, it doesn't mean everything outside of us is harmonious, but it's easy for us to choose harmonious things because we want to continue that energy that we have inside of us as connected to externally, right? So these are ways that we can, say, where am I ignoring myself? How can I, and it could, again, it doesn't mean action based. It can just be, I just need to give myself some more compassion and care and understanding within myself. It's not, maybe it doesn't mean you have to change something. It just means that I choose to be more compassionate and gentle with myself. I'm going to look at a few oracle cards for you to close your reading. The Explorer. Okay, so I feel like with this, based on the rest of your reading, this isn't like, let me go out and do it. I mean, you can externally explore, but this to me is like, let me turn inward and see what's going on within myself. Where can I put my energy back on myself? Where can I turn inward and explore and see what's going on there? Like, exploring our feelings doesn't mean you have to take a particular action either way. It just means I'm turning inward and seeing what's going on there. So the Explorer, turn in, see what's in your heart here. Just opening up yourself up to just be like, what's going on in there? Let me see how I feel. Let me see, these messages I'm getting from myself, how I want to move forward, like all those things. So exploring internally. Okay, we'll get another oracle card. Replenish to flourish. Yeah, so this is exactly what I'm talking about with like that balancing act here of just like, where am I out of balance? Where can I give myself more balance? Where can I, but replenish to flourish. So we can't flourish if we are ignoring ourselves, if we aren't showing up for ourselves, if we aren't being realistic about what we need for things, right? So replenish to flourish. That's how we move forward, is when we do pour into ourselves and we have that balance, and then that kind of pushes us and allows us to take action and connect to things that are for us, instead of like running on E and trying to make something work within all of that, which is, no matter you can sustain it right now, it's not actually long-term sustainable. I'm going to close with one affirmation card for you, group 4. I'm sustained by love. Okay, so again, this is just what I was talking about, and a really nice full circle of your, I heal the habit of fear and embrace the habit of love. Here is just a reminder that, we change when we give ourselves love and compassion and kindness. And when we let ourselves be in communication with ourselves, of like in lovingness, gentle, kind ways to ourselves, right? And that's the only force that can fill us up and keep us going to be able to move forward, is self-compassion, is love, is patience, is kindness, is all of that. So I'm sustained by love. That's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. If you ever want any more information about me, all that is linked below. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day.